What's up, everybody? It's your boy JR Morales coming at you live from Panama City, Panama with the Attract, Teach, Monetize show. And I have a very, very good one for you today because one thing that I've noticed recently is a lot of people struggle with what they're selling, especially because they're not really understanding what they're really selling, right? You're not selling information, right? If you're in any kind of niche, such as the ones that I'm in, where it's business or it's fitness or it's health related or anything like that, you might have gotten into the idea that what you sell is information, but there's a difference. And I'm going to explain to you what it is. But before I get into that, right, I want to invite you to head on over to moralesclass.com, where I have 100% free training for you, right? Nothing to sign up for. All you got to do is go in there and watch it. And in that training, I'm going to cover all these things in depth to help you get more customers, do it in the easiest way possible, and be as effective as you can be in your customer acquisition process, okay? So moralesclass.com, don't forget about that. So let me get back to what you're really selling, right? People don't want to buy information because the problem with information nowadays is that it's everywhere, right? You can literally go on Google and search for anything and you're going to find good information about that. You can go on YouTube and you find information. So information is not really the key, right? Let me tell you what the key is. The key is transformation. What people are looking for is to change from the current state that they're in, right, where they may not know how to do something, to go to a state where they actually have the thing that you're referring to, right? So in a way, you want to look at it as like they're living in a hell right now and they want to go to a particular heaven. And what you're supposed to sell them and what you're supposed to teach them is the bridge between the two things, right? The bridge between hell and heaven. What does this mean? This means that literally what you're selling is not information, it's strategic information that helps them transform, okay? And I see this all the time because I was looking at certain videos the other day and I was looking at a product that came out and the product felt like it was like philosophy. It was like Eckhart Tolle just going at it and just going on and droning on and on. But I never felt that it landed. And I realized that when I've studied blockbuster products in the past and when I've looked at digital products and digital assets that have made lots of money and that have sold really, really well in markets, what I realize is that the ones that sell the best are always done in a way of transformation, because the idea is that what you're selling is the end result, right? So if you want to do X, right, what you need to do is A, B, C, right? Then you explain A, then B, then C. When people follow that, they get to X. That's the way that you're supposed to build your products. That's the way that you're thinking of your ideas. And it also shows you a lot about your market, because the idea is that there's two realities that you want to look at, right? Reality number one is the current state that your market is in. And this is where the market research comes in. And the more that you study your market and the more you get why they are interested in this topic, why they care about this, why and what's happening in their lives and all that, the more you understand the hell. That's great, because when you do the marketing for it, right, when you're wanting to get those people, you're always referring to people that are currently having that situation, right? People that are currently going through a different moment in their lives, right? And you want to help them, right? So you identify that, so you say that your solution is for them. And consequently, you want to also look at what's the heaven that they want to get to, right? What does that look like to them? Remember, and it's important to say it in the way that they phrase it, not the way that you say it. Because when you look at your prospects, when you look at your clients, you're going to notice that there's certain things that they will say about what they're really trying to achieve that is different. Now, this brings us to another distinction that I think is critical to make at this point. It's the difference between the needs and the wants, right? And what you're going to realize is that a lot of people, when they say they want something, in reality, what they're expressing is a need for something else, right? If you want financial freedom, well, what you need to do to get that is actually have a business, let's say, for example, right? A successful, thriving business and all these things. But the idea is that you're able to connect at that highest level with what they're thinking and what they want. And if you look at the wants, right, the things that they want, you have to look at the opposite of that when you're studying it. You have to look at all the complaints that a marketplace has. And trust me, as someone who has done a lot of studying in different markets, it's not the most pleasant thing in the world to go into a complaint zone all the time where people are, all they're doing is complaining about certain things. But just remember, Every complaint is actually an opportunity in disguise, because what it's showing is an unmet need in the market. Somebody wants to get from here to there and they can't get it, so they complain. This is why if you go to Amazon and you read even if you go to a famous book and you go into the reviews, go to the 1-star reviews, and you're going to notice the things that people are saying were missing from the book. Now, of course, you're going to find a couple of crazy people on Amazon that, write reviews and they have no idea what they're talking about. But if there's a legitimate thing that they said, hey, you never mentioned anything that has to do with this, well, guess what? That's extremely valuable intel that you can use when you're creating your product, because the market is telling you of an actual place where right now there's a gap that's not being met correctly, and that's where you can come in. Likewise, when you speak to your clients, when you speak to your prospects, right, you can ask them certain questions, right? If you have an email sequence, you can just ask them a question. Hey, what do you look to get from this in this coming year or the next year or whatever, right? Whatever time frame. You can ask them that question, and you're going to see the replies, and the replies will shock you. I guarantee you they will shock you. The reason they will shock you is because you're going to get the intel of what it is that they are seeing as their future, not the way that you see it. And I remember that a couple of years ago, I launched a product, and I thought that what people wanted, right, was to have a thriving business, which in any kind of situation is a true statement. But when I interviewed my clients, my prospects at the time, when I interviewed them, I wanted to pick out the words that they would say of what it is, how do they call the thing that they want to get to. And that's what led me at that time to create a product that was called Orders Every Day, because that's what they wanted. It wasn't the way that I was saying, because I was like, hey, you can dominate this market, you can make sales, you can do all this other stuff. And when I spoke to 3 or 4 different prospects, I realized that all they were looking for was to get orders every day. That was it. So then everything that I did was about getting them from where they were, which is not getting orders, not really having a designed business, many things that were at the time sort of their reality, and then point them to Orders Every Day. Now, how do you get to that? Well, that's where you go into a step-by-step nature of the transformation. Okay. Now, what I really advise you to do is to always study your market as a transformation. That's really what's happening. They're looking for the information that gets them from here to there, which means that they're really looking for a transformation and not just information, and not just for you to to go into philosophizing about it and just, riffing about your topic, even though it may be something that really, really gets you going. So before I get off today, I want you to head on over to moralesclass.com, where I have a deeper dive training where I go into all this stuff, and I teach you the 3 main core concepts that we go into are about attracting customers strategically, teaching them, right, so that we can convert them into lifelong clients, and then monetizing them without being pressury or salesy or any of those things. And you're able to make sales in a cool way. So head on over to Morales Class. Now, remember the things I told you today, right? You want to think of what the hell is that they're currently living in. You want to think of what the heaven is that they want to live in, right? And you want to make sure that you have a step-by-step nature to get them from A to B. If you have these things, your product is probably more powerful, more direct, more focused, and more valuable than it has ever been before, because it will actually cause the change that you're looking for in the right people. So until next time, this is JR Morales signing out, and I'll see you on the next one.